Hello, this is David with the Ag Economic Insights, talking today about AEI Premium. First, thanks for signing up for the trial, for giving this a look. We think you're going to find the content and the tools and the ideas that we're sharing here valuable and useful as you um, work through the uncertainties facing us here in agriculture and as you challenge your thinking. I have a three-part video series putting together here, and today on this episode we're going to talk about the content. When you log into the Forecast Network, when you get your trial started, the first page you're going to see is the overview page, and this is really the home page. This is where you're going to land when you log in every time, and you're going to find a lot of great content here. You're going to find content articles that you're just not going to find anywhere else. Or if you see places talking about the similar topics, you're going to find the data-driven insights here for that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about where to go and where you're going to find the different pieces here. The first section that jumps out is what we call the deeper dive. These are more data-driven insights, and this is very similar to the Weekly Insights blog that you're familiar with, but it's a little more in depth. We have more content that we're sharing here, but we also are adding additional pieces of information here as well. So if you expand this, you can see we have a lot of articles, several articles here in the first few weeks of June. Um, one of the things you're going to find really interesting is a 2020 yield model project. We've been working with Dr. Jeff Young. He's an econometrician. He really looks at the data and he's putting together some yield forecasts, and he's having a weekly discussion with us about what's going on and how that's working out. Again, a lot of yield models get talked about or shared on Twitter. Not a lot goes into explaining the assumptions or the variability in these assessments. He has a really great amount of work there that you should take a look at. Brent and I also jump on once a week and we share our latest thoughts in a video form. You can check that out. We also provide a transcript if you prefer to read that transcript as well. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we also talk about articles. We have a lot of articles. Here's a discussion about the potential for 2020 acreage shift between that March prospective planting report and here the June report of planted acres and that final number. A lot of great data, a lot of good information here that you can dive into. The final thing I want to point out here is the what we are thinking about memos. Brent and I are putting these together about once a week. These aren't necessarily specific to the data, but they're things that we think about with respect to agriculture and big ideas that we're trying to frame out. And also take a look at some of these interviews we have in here. We have some great journalists and reporters who are helping us along the way, providing us articles on a weekly basis, and they're going to summarize the 500-word summary that you're familiar with, and they're going to ask tough questions. This is asking two experts, meteorological experts, about weather here in 2020. But here's what you're going to find that you can't find anyone else. We're going to give you a transcript here. So if you find the article really interesting, you want to dive into the nuts and bolts, you can do that here with these articles with the transcript. So you're going to find a lot of great content here. You should definitely take a look. The second post over here is what's going on, links to the most relevant news. And with AEI, we've never wanted to be breaking news, but we're going to break down the news. But also along the way, we want to share the breaking news that we think is most relevant and most important to you. So once a week, we have a roundup of all the most important ag stories that we think are worth reading, the things that we're reading, the things that are impacting our thinking. We're going to share those links here for you to take a look at, and you can scroll through those as you check in on a weekly or so basis. The third section here are ideas that make us better. This is outside of the box thinking. We have a lot of articles in here, and these are mental models or frameworks that challenge the way that we think, and it hopefully helps expand your horizon and challenge you to really apply the insights and the data and the information that we've shared throughout the website. It helps you build some internal frameworks or internal processes to challenge your thinking. We like to update this a couple times a month, so definitely take a look as we bring that in. Finally, a couple other sections we want to mention quickly. Getting the most out of AFN. This is an area where you're going to want to read about the nuts and bolts of the forecast network and how it works. We're going to talk about that in the next video. And finally, the reference guides, some handy tips that we want to provide to you as you go through here. So again, thanks for the trial period here. I hope you dive in, take a look at some of these articles. We're updating this on a regular basis. We will also be contacting you typically late Friday mornings or early in the afternoons with our AEI Premium newsletter, and where we're going to summarize the latest articles that we've seen here, things, share some ideas that we have on our mind, and also some fun observations we've made along the way. So make sure you check that out. Again, this is David with AEI Premium. Thanks for checking us out, and join us in the next videos as we talk about the Ag Forecast Network tool.